Everyone likes to tell spooky stories, and especially with Halloween coming around the corner. Chances are you might want to tell your own spooky story, but don't know how to make it. Well, sit down little children and gather around the fire, because tonight, I will be teaching you how to make the spookiest story you will ever imagine. Tonight you will learn how to make a creepypasta. Now some of you might be wondering,
what is a creepypasta?
Where can I find it?
Can I eat it?
Well, allow me to answer those questions from bottom to top. No. The internet. And probably the least useless question, what is a creepypasta? According to urbandictionary.com, a creepypasta is a creepy story that floats around the internet. Now you might be asking yourself, but how does one make a creepypasta? Well, be quiet, because if you were listening to my introduction or read the title, you wouldn't be asking yourself that. Now pay attention. Making a creepypasta is easier than you think. You just have to follow these 3 simple steps. If you have ever read a creepypasta before, you probably have seen that the monster in the story tends to have a canon image. This is so the reader can actually see what the monster looks like. They then believe that the monster might be real and end up being more scared. So remember, the picture is 56% of the spookiness. Now it is time to create your monster. Let's start off by making the head, because the face makes up 88% of the 56% of the spookiness. You will want to give your monster tiny eyes and a massive mouth. That's almost a bit too spooky now. Give the head some color and feel free to add details to increase the creepiness. Now it's time to make the body. The body should make the monster more intimidating, because looks aren't everything, you know. Speaking of looks, you should give the body some detail to make it more appealing to look at. And since you are also trying to spook the reader, they will get caught in an endless cycle of staring and looking away. Finally, give your monster some arms and legs. And there you go. Your very own spooky monster. Now, to trick the person reading the story into thinking your monster could possibly be real, Photoshop it into some scary backgrounds like a forest, an abandoned house, or a playground, just to name a few. Oh boy, I'm already getting spooked myself. Now that you have your monster, you need to give it a name, because the story is always named after the monster, which means that the name is mandatory. Anyway, there are 2 different ways you could name your monster. We could either 1. Giving the monster an obvious name. This can be done by just using the most noteworthy features as the name. Or 2. Give the monster a name that just sounds spooky. Let's give our monster the latter. No, not that latter. After a while of creative brainstorming, I have decided that the spookiest name for our monster should be the wrench. Anyway, let's get to making the story. Remember all the things your English teacher told you to do in school? Well, forget all of that, because it's all just useless information for what we're about to do. Instead, resort back to the good improvisation you pulled out of your mind during a camping trip. To do this, I'll give you a little test. Fill in the boxes with your answers and I'll come back when you're done. Alright, pencils down. Now hand up your test. Well, I can't say that you failed. Oh, well, we'll just have to use this anyway. So, for the setting, we have a dark and spooky forest. Our main character is a one-dimensional, nameless person who has no motivation whatsoever for putting themselves at risk of facing our monster, and our time is what you were all expecting, 1:27 a.m. Now all we need to do is put this all together, and then we'll have our story.
6.5 hours later.
Hooray! Our story is complete. Would you like me to read it to you?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
But are you really sure? Because this story may be the spookiest thing you will ever experience in your entire life, and you won't be able to sleep for days if you are not prepared. So
Oh my gosh, just read the darn story.
okay then, your loss. Anyway, here we go. The end. Well, I told you it was gonna be scary. And look, you're about to pee your pants. Anyway, now that we have completed the story, it is time to move on to the third and final step. Much like the greatest butters, a good creepypasta's purpose in life is to be spread. But for every spread of butter, there is a knife and slice of toast involved. So, let the internet be your toast and people be your knives. Start out small by telling your friends to pass it on to others. Then get progressively larger by moving on to content sharing websites. If you want to take that one giant leap to YouTube, hire a YouTuber with a nice voice to read your story. These people typically have seductive voices that drag in thousands of viewers. Once you have passed this stage, all I can say now is congratulations. You have completed every step of making your own creepypasta. I'm proud of you. But there is one thing that I forgot to mention. When you share your story, never tag your name to your story. Yes, that's right. You see, by sharing your name, you are basically telling the readers that someone wrote the story. They will then know that it's fake and everything you have worked for will have been ruined. It's the little risks we take every day to give people the good spooks that they want. Well, that concludes this tutorial on making a creepypasta. Good luck trying this on your own. Thanks for watching, and have a spooky Halloween.